I thank you all for coming for this really important subject. And we have lots of cards for people that want to speak. And as our clerk was saying, if you haven't filled out your card, please do so, because we'll have to move on after that, because we have lots of things on our regular agenda, but nothing more important than this. And I borrowed some glasses from somebody. Here we go. Yeah, they're different, aren't they? So what we normally do for our regular legislative meeting, I'm calling this to order, of course, July the 16th. And we start with a silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. And if you could take a moment for silent prayer and then stand for, we got our flags in, okay, for the pledge of allegiance, that would be great. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we can have introductions, please.
Quinn Falter, Executive Assistant.
Christy Rischel, Clerk of the Board.
Good evening. I'm County Commissioner Denise Driehaus.
Jeff Aludo, County Administrator.
Linda Smith, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney.
Thank you so much. Stephanie Summerall Dumas, President of the Board of County Commissioners. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous session.
Second?
Commissioner Summer Dumas.
Yes.
Commissioner Driehaus.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And before we get started on our public hearing, we have a presentation that we're all very excited about. The board is excited because I know I saw her, this young lady, on television, and I said, we have to get her in here. And the reason I felt a couple reasons why we need to get her in here is because oftentimes in our board, we recognize sports achievements, which is great. But if you can achieve a high level of education at a young age, I think we need to recognize that. So we have before us a proclamation. If you'd like to come up. And her name is Sunny Renee James. And remember that name because she is going to make a mark in history. She already has. So I'm going to get started and read. So what we'll do, you just read a little more since she's not there. Okay. And this is a proclamation, Hamilton County Board of Commissioners proclamation honoring Sunny Ray James for outstanding academic achievement, leadership, and historic accomplishments. Whereas Sunny Renee James has demonstrated extraordinary determination by overcoming early academic challenges, transforming from a third grade student who struggled with online learning into an exceptional scholar whose story serves as a testament to the power of resilience, hard work, and unwavering belief in oneself.
And whereas at just 14 years of age, while entering the 8th grade in the Norwood City School District, Sunny Renee James has made history as one of the first middle school students in Norwood City schools to simultaneously enroll in college through Ohio's College Credit Plus program, becoming both an 8th grade student and a freshman at Cincinnati State Technical and Community College. And whereas through the College Credit Plus program, students in grades 7 through 12 had the opportunity to earn both high school and college credit simultaneously, a challenge Sunny has embraced. And whereas Sunny successfully completed the AccuPlacer college placement examination with outstanding results, demonstrating her readiness for college-level studies and earning her place among a select group of only 35 students participating in this distinguished academic program. And whereas, as she prepares to begin high school, Sunny has already embarked upon her college journey by enrolling in quantitative reasoning at Cincinnati State Technical and Community College, taking meaningful steps towards achieving her long-term dream of attending law school. And whereas Sunny exemplifies the belief that by continuously striving to become a better person, one can also make their school, community, and future better, inspiring others to pursue excellence regardless of the obstacles that they may face.
And whereas, with aspirations of serving as mayor of the city of Norwood at the age of 18, and later seeking election to the United States Congress, Sunny Renee James has already demonstrated the vision, ambition, and servant leadership that reflect a deep commitment to public service and to making a positive difference in the lives of others. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Hamilton County Board of County Commissioners recognizes and congratulates Sunny Renee James for her extraordinary academic accomplishments. We celebrate her accomplishments, applaud her dedication to learning, and extend our best wishes for continued success as she pursues her educational goals, future legal studies, and a lifetime of public service. Be it further proclaimed that we commend Sunny Renee James for proving that determination, perseverance, and faith in one's potential can transform challenges into remarkable achievements. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hamilton County, Ohio, does hereby proclaim Friday, July the 17th, 2026 as Sunny Renee James Day in all of Hamilton County, and it's signed by all our commissioners. Yes. So we're going to let you say a few words, but we'll have our commissioners speak first. And I know your dad asked, could he have a little bit? So we'll let him speak. So Vice President Reese, would you like to say a couple words?
In a minute. Just want to say remarkable, absolutely remarkable. So happy to sign on to this proclamation for your day, but just know that you're inspiring so many other people. They look at you and they say they can do it. So thank you for your inspiration. Congratulations on all your accomplishments, and we're super proud of you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Greenhouse.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to recognize your achievements at such a young age in particular. So it really is inspiring. We've got some other young people in the room, and so you serve as an example of what you can do when you put your mind to it and do the work and make sure that you put yourself on the right track to achieve your goals. I'll look forward to seeing you in Norwood. Because we partner with Norwood and the leadership there. So when you become mayor, we'll see you there. Thank you very much, and congratulations to the parents.
Very good. And we know today is the 16th, and as you notice, we proclaimed the 17th because we want you to have the whole day, and that's why we made it the 17th. So would you like to say a few words?
You know, honestly, this was an honor. This is an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. I have to thank God first, because I wouldn't be here without him. And maybe that's hard for people to understand why I have faith, but I can't deny that I do, and I won't say that I don't. It's still hard to believe that I'm here, that I'm doing all of this. I just want to tell all of the young people, all of the not so young people, you can do things. You can make changes for the better. You can always do something, even if it's small. That's the thing that counts. The big things, yes, those are major, but the small things make the difference. You know, when I first started this out, I had to lean on my parents. I said, this is great, but I don't know if I can do it. And they just looked at me. They said, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Yes.
You know, my parents are an example that I use because they remind me so much of perseverance, so much of what I want to represent. They present themselves as though ambassadors of Christ, honestly, and it inspires me personally. I don't know about anyone else, but I know for a fact that my parents inspire me. You know, I just want to say that no matter what you're going through, I know I started this out with health battles. I had chronic migraines, I had stomach pain. It was all over the place. It was a mess. Going in and out of hospitals. You know, I had a classmate, he said, "Sonny, but you're never at school. How are you doing this?" And I looked at him, I said, "If you believe it, you can achieve it. But if you don't," you know, and it just made them think. And I could tell they started thinking. And I just felt a wave of happiness, genuine happiness, that I get to help other people see where they can go. I'm not the only person who can do this. You just have to be willing. You have to commit. It's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy. But it's also not something you can't do. You know, to all of the young people here, I'm not going to turn around. To all of the young people here, one day, I truly believe you all are going to inspire someone, even if it's just one person. It could be a baby, okay? I'll take it. You're going to inspire someone one day, and I truly, truly, truly believe that. And, you know, to all the people who are doubting, well, you know, I'm not the type of person, I wouldn't say that. You know, I thought the exact same thing. You know, I asked God to use me, put me out there with his people, help me open up to people, you know, and he did this.
Great.
And I said, well, this wasn't what I asked for you, but you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So I want to say thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to those of you sitting on the board. Thank you to all of the people who have supported me throughout this journey, even before the journey. You know, I'm hoping that this right now will help people in the far, far future.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Bishop is looking at me. Okay, Bishop, we know you're a pastor. We attended our son.
It'll be just a second. First and foremost, let me just say I have a short testimony to say about my baby girl. I was laying in bed several nights ago, and my baby girl runs into my bedroom, and she plops on my bed, and she goes, "Oh, no, Dad, my grades! What is wrong? Oh, my God!" And I'm thinking, oh, my God, you're too fast. Maybe I should have just let her go to the 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, normal students. She goes, "I can't believe this. My grade has dropped all the way down to a 94.1. Oh, my God." And I was thinking to myself, do I frown? Do I am upset? When I was in college, if I got a 76, I was like, where are the cheerleaders? I'm a stud.
Right.
But I want you all to be praying for her. And when Sonny Renee runs for U.S. Congress, I want you to know that she will take all of us with her. And I believe that when she turns 18, she will be the youngest mayor that we've ever had to celebrate. But all of you are a springboard for her. And please come and support her. She goes into the courts on a regular basis now. The judges let her sit right next to them while they're doing cases and trials. Connie Pillage is one of her dearest peers. So I just want to say thank God for each and every one of you, because your legacy has launched my daughter, even if she slipped to a 94.1. We'll pray over that.
Awesome. And I also want to recognize her mom, who's here. You want to stand up? Yeah. Thank you. So what we're going to do is come down. Bridget, is it better to come down or, yeah, and take a picture? We'll take one with the three of us, and then if you two want to come up right after we do this. Here, you hold the proclamation, it's yours, so we'll just open it up. Okay. Oh, boy.
Who's paying?
Right. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for your indulgence. I think it was worth it. We're going to get started with, excuse us, we're going to get started with public comments, and let me put these. Our first speaker for this evening is oh, no, I think we should. Yeah, definitely. No, Lisa. So we're talking about being, having indulgence. Well, knowledge is power. I said that the last time. Lisa's just going to give you a brief little summary of what the Children's Levy is all about, and then we'll have public comments. Thanks, Lisa.
It is a quick presentation here. Perfect, thank you. This is just a quick overview of the Children's Services Levy and the process to date on the review up to the public hearings this week. Just a little bit of background on the Children's Services Levy. The Children's Services Levy provides support for children's services and the care and placement of children. It was first approved in 1981, and it is currently on the ballot it is currently a 4.51 mil levy that costs taxpayers just over $81 per $100,000 home. The levy was last increased in 2018, and prior to that, it had not been increased since 1996. It's important to note that this levy funds the essential legally required services to protect children from abuse and neglect, supporting families in crisis. A large portion of those services, and I'll get into that in just a minute, are mandated by law, meaning the county must provide those services regardless of the funding source. Levies are the funding source for children's services for counties in Ohio. The levy serves just over 2,000 kids that were in care just in the month of June this year. Foster care and other placements are the largest mandated costs of care. The levy also provides emergency placement, shelter, food, health care for children that are removed from unsafe environments, as well as the funding for 241 kids and investigation services for those. It's important to note that healthcare and behavioral health services for kids have increased significantly. Contract spending has nearly quadrupled since 2022, given the needs for kids in our community. This levy works to keep families together whenever possible. Over 80% of children that are served by the levy are served in family, or by JFS, are served in family-based settings. The key for those being kinship care and foster care. 9 of 10 children exiting care achieve permanency through reunification or kinship placement or adoption. And it's important to note, as a measure of that, a year later, 90% of those youth are still in permanency. That is, Hamilton County's rate for that is higher than the statewide average. Hamilton County is also a leader in kinship placements, trying to keep kids with family or community members that they know. That the research on that has shown it improves stability and family connections for those kids. It's also significantly more affordable than traditional foster care placements. Hamilton County is the leader in kinship in Ohio. I believe it's 36% of kids are in kinship placements in our county. We've also worked with Kids in School Rule to try to help kids perform better on reading achievement and graduation rates. We were just with Sunny Ray talking about struggling in third grade, the third grade reading guarantee that every kid has to go through in the state of Ohio. The kids that are in the Kids in School Rule program in Cincinnati Public have a 100% success rate on that test, basically because a large support due to the services, the wraparounds that are provided to those kids. We also have an independent living program to help young adults as they're segueing out of placement to stabilize their housing, make sure that they're completing their education, and provide gainful employment to help them navigate becoming adults in our community. Many of those successes, though, that I just mentioned are non-mandated services. Oh, there it goes. Here, there's the third grade reading guarantee as well as graduation rates. The rising costs that we're having for JFS have led to our reserves declining, which brings us to the situation we're at now with the levy. Placement costs have increased more than 90% since 2021. They now make up half of the annual levy expenses. Children in care have increased 19% during that same time with higher complexity of needs. Let's get through this real quick. If you look at levy plan, which is the pink column here, compared to levy actuals, you can see those increasing rates of need in 2024 and 2025 of the current levy period. A large portion of this is this purple line in these charts, which is the out-of-home care costs for kids. You don't want to look at the numbers. Why are these placement costs rising? Largely due to the increased complexity of cases that I just discussed. There have been some federal legislation that has increased costs as well as the high level of needs of kids in care, specifically in specialized and congregate care, leading to hundreds of dollars a day for costs to make sure those kids have all of the services that they need, which is driving up the costs for the levy. This is an example of the types of placement that kids receive: foster home, kinship home, independent living, group home, residential care. If you look at this chart displayed here, you can see the average cost for kids in care based on that level. You can see kinship care costs about $7,000 a child. Foster care is about $41,000. Group homes, $109,000. Residential care, $168,000. Just as examples, as you can see how those costs increase exponentially. What has the county done when they've seen these cost increases? In 2024, JFS worked to end discretionary prevention programming. They placed those services on hold. 2025, they eliminated discretionary costs and shifted other costs to the general fund or other funding sources. The TLRC also began their review during that time period. In 2026, they reduced the levy budget by $36 million to avoid a levy deficit. Those were cuts in services, decreases in services, and also shifts to other funding sources within the county. This is actually the list of the $36 million in reductions. I will not go through those specifically with all of you, but that is available to review. This is happening throughout the state of Ohio, nationally at some levels too. It is important to note that Ohio is ranked second lowest in the country in contributions to child welfare. Ohio averages about 18% of funding for kids in care. The average state contribution in America is 42%. These are the independent reviews that were conducted as a part of the tax process. Public Consulting Group completed an operational review over about an 8-month period on the levy, where they found that those sharply rising costs for out-of-home placements were driven by increased rates of a growing number of high acuity youth in placement. Noted also that Ohio counties have very limited ability to control out-of-home placements. Clark Schaefer Hackett Consulting also completed a review of the finances within the levy and noticed significant structural imbalances, with the fund balance declining 71% over the course of the levy period. They found that that decline was driven almost entirely by out-of-home placement costs. Oh, sorry, I think I hit something. I don't know what I hit. Oh, there we go. Perfect. The Tax Levy Review Committee spent 16 months studying the levy and had public hearings. I see a lot of familiar faces also in this room. The Tax Levy Review Committee found that without additional revenue or major structural changes, the county would continue to face these escalating costs, driving deficits, reducing availability of services, and higher long-term costs. The committee recommended increasing funding for the levy to provide a base level of funding for mandated services and restoration of the fund reserve within the levy. The TLRC and Public Consulting Group developed 3 scenarios for the levy. There was a fixed services, which would have kept all of the services continuing at that higher level with the non-mandated services as well. That would cost $205 million in property taxes. A reduced level at $155 million, which would keep the 2026 reductions, that $36 million that I noted, in place going forward, and a minimum service level, which was drastic reductions, kind of the lowest point that they thought they could get to for services. The TLRC's recommendation was actually lower than that at $144 million. With a lot of other assumptions, a continuation of that $36 million in reductions, continuation of general fund assumption of ongoing expenses, so moving some expenses from the levy to other funding sources within the county, and risk of further reductions if out-of-home care costs were to continue to escalate the way they had been in the last few years. This is the levy that they have recommended. It amounts to a 6.57 mil levy, and would cost $154 per $100,000 of home valuation. So that is what's before the commissioners today. We have several other scenarios as well that we'll be discussing when we move out of the public hearing, but that is what's before us presently.
That last page. keep
Yes. Oop. This here?
it- Yeah.
Yeah, so this, and thank you for catching that as well. This is a list of items that JFS is working on to keep the levy balanced for the long term. Focusing more on kinship, Hamilton County is the leader in kinship in the state, but also continuing to support kinship, recruiting kinship families, and transitioning and supporting kinship more through community partnerships, reviewing the level of care that children are in to make sure that they are at the most appropriate level of care at each juncture in their journey. Looking at non-mandated services again, use of Ohio Rise to link children with behavioral health needs to community services, continuing to maximize the county's ability to draw down federal reimbursement for programming, specifically Title IV eligibility. We were recently awarded 2 grants from the state of Ohio for the Hillcrest Wellness Campus, one for operations and one for capital, to get it to start a pilot for that facility starting early next year. It'll offer stabilization services for children in the system or entering the JFS system to make sure that they are they are placed where they are placed in the best placement for them. The state is also having conversations right now towards moving toward a set rate card, which would set fixed rates for placement costs. We're just watching that right now to see what happens with that. We haven't gotten enough detail to be able to look at the long-term implications of it, but we're watching that very closely, and we're continuing to advocate at the federal level, specifically for increased reimbursements and eligibility for reimbursement.
Thank you so much, Elisa. Appreciate it. We'll move into our speakers. Nicole Williams Kingsley, please come forward. You have 2 minutes. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Nicole Williams Kingsley. I serve as Vice President of Programs at the YWCA of Greater Cincinnati. I am here to encourage you for your continued support by placing the Children's Services Levy on the ballot at a funding level that ensures critical services for children and families remain available. At the YWCA of Greater Cincinnati, we provide programs that help children remain safe, strengthen families, and support family reunification when they are involved with Child Protective Services. These programs are essential for helping families thrive throughout our Hamilton County. Each year, more than 13,000 children benefit from programs supported through Hamilton County Job and Family Services. One of those programs is called Safe Care, which YWCA provides in collaboration with Hamilton County Job and Family Services. Safe Care is an evidence-based in-home parenting program that helps families build the skills they need to create safe, healthy, and nurturing environments for their children. Participants work one-on-one with a family support provider through 3 core modules: home safety, parent and child and parent and infant interactions, and children's health and medical care. Parents and caregivers receive hands-on coaching, practice new skills in their own homes, and leave with practical tools and resources they can continue using long after the program ends. As a result, families develop healthier relationships, create safer home environments, and become better equipped to meet their children's health and developmental needs. Without levy funding, programs like Safe Care and the positive outcomes they make possible for children and families are at risk. So I ask for you to support increasing the levy dollars, and thank you for your time and consideration this evening.
Thank you for coming. Joanna Glover. Welcome.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners and community. My name is Joanna Glover. I am the Chief Program Officer at YWCA. I have here with me also Raquel Howard-Smith, who is our CEO. I am here today to encourage you to place Children's Services Levy on the ballot at an amount that ensures critical services for our children and families remain funded. Rather than sharing statistics about the incredible work that YWCA does every day, I want to talk about domestic violence. Domestic violence is not someone else's issue, it's our community's issue. Nearly everyone knows someone who is experiencing or has experienced domestic violence. It impacts our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends, our family members, and children that are sitting in our classrooms. When survivors are not supported, the consequences reach far beyond one household. Our community bears the cost through increased involvement in child welfare, healthcare, law enforcement, the courts, and homelessness. Investing in survivors is not only the compassionate thing to do, it is the physically responsible thing to do. In Ohio, 157 people lost their lives to domestic violence last year. 35 children witnessed these murders. Those children carry that trauma with them for the rest of their lives unless we as a community intervene. Through our partnership with Hamilton County Job and Family Services, our advocates help survivors find safety, strengthen families, obtain protection orders, create stable homes where children can heal, and we also help our youth understand what a healthy relationship is. These services are not luxuries. They are essential investment in safer families, healthier children, and a stronger Hamilton County. I respectfully ask you to support Children's Services Levy at an amount that protects both mandated and essential services so families receive the support that they need. I thank you for your time and your consideration today. Thank you.
Thank you. Bonita Camprin. I can tell I didn't pronounce that last name right.
It's okay. Good evening, Commissioners.
Good
I'm
evening.
Bonita Campbell from Lighthouse Youth and Family Services, and I am Chief Operating Officer. Every day, Lighthouse works with young people facing serious challenges. Some are experiencing homelessness, some are struggling with family conflict, others are dealing with mental challenges, all have experienced trauma. Many are at a critical point in their lives. Without help, things can get worse. With the right care and support, they can move forward. That help often starts with Hamilton County Job and Family Services. I am here tonight to strongly support Hamilton County Children's Services Levy. This levy helps keep children safe. It helps family get support early. It also helps organizations like Lighthouse provide housing, behavioral health supports, and other critical services. The impact is real. A safe bed can help a child succeed in school. Counseling can help a young person heal. Stable housing can create a path to independence. These services can change lives. They also make our community stronger. When we invest in children, we invest in Hamilton County's future. Early supports work. It prevents bigger problems later. When we do have to intervene later, services for our transitional age youth become even more critical. Without timely supports that address crisis and establish a plan for stability, young people face a trajectory marked by repeated trauma, chronic homelessness, and worsening mental health symptomology. I ask you to stand with the children and families who need us most. Help ensure these critical services remain available for those who depend on them. Together, we can save every child and young person and give them the safety, stability, and opportunity that they deserve. Thank you for your time and consideration this evening.
Thank you. Kylan Say. C. Okay. Welcome.
How y'all doing?
Good.
My name is Colin C., and I'm here to show support for Hamilton County's Children's Services Levy. Not long ago, I experienced homelessness and had no idea what my future was going to look like. First step was a shelter house, and it was overwhelming. After spending some time on a waiting list, I eventually ended up going into the shelter for 1824, the Shickley Lighthouse. It changed everything. I had stability. I had people who cared about me and wanted me to succeed. Today, I'm a part of the Lighthouse Youth Services program, living in one of the apartments on the top 3 floors of the Shickley Lighthouse. I received much more than just housing. I learned to make my own decisions. I achieved my own goals. I'm surrounded by people who care about me and want me to succeed. Being a part of the Lighthouse program, funded through partnership of Hamilton County Family Services, young people like me have a chance to succeed. Today, I'm also a member of the Lighthouse Youth Action Board. I use my experience to advocate for young people and help improve services for others who are facing the same challenges. I know firsthand that these programs work. Without them, many young people will end up lost on the streets. Instead, they have a chance to build their futures and have something to be proud of. Funding these children's service levies make opportunities much more possible. I ask you to continue supporting the Children's Service Levy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Always good to hear those who have lived experience. It's always great. Erin Kendall, welcome.
My name is Erin Kendall, and I'm the Interim Services Program Director for the Cincinnati NECO office. NECO is a foster care agency that is celebrating 30 years of helping to change the face of child welfare and build families. I'm also a licensed independent social worker with 21 years experience. I'm here today to share with you the impact the levy funding has on the families that we serve. Currently, we have 146 children placed through Hamilton County in our foster homes and 11 young adults in our independent living program. The children we are seeing come into our program today have much higher needs than we have ever seen before. They are behind in school, have medical needs, and much higher mental health needs due to the trauma that they have experienced. NECO helps children heal in a safe and loving home surrounded by supports from our staff as well as collaborating with the JFS team. The funds that our foster parents receive through levy funding helps pay for the children to participate in extracurricular activities, childcare, transportation to visits with their biological families, and medical appointments, school supplies, clothing, and numerous other things necessary to support the care of a growing child. For many of the kids that we serve, playing a sport is a new experience that they would not have otherwise had the opportunity for. We also have many teens who get to attend formal dances and attend their first job during their time with us. Additionally, this funding helps support my team of case managers and therapists who often support the foster parents on a daily basis. They support them through difficult behaviors, adjustments back from family visits, and getting needed services in place. We offer a 24-hour crisis phone so that the families never feel alone. They are with the foster parents and young adults to support them through their first day at a new school, first developmental milestones, first sleepovers, and much more. Additionally, our foster parents oftentimes build community with the biological families so that lasting connections are made once reunification occurs or kinship options are found. Our foster parents strive to be supports to not only the children placed in their home, but the parents and families that JFS work with. Many of the families stay connected for years after their foster care journey ends. All of this is made possible through levy funding. We need to be reminded that the children served by Hamilton County are our most vulnerable population and the future leaders of tomorrow. The decisions made now will have lasting implications, and I urge you to place this levy on the ballot so the children do not suffer any disruptions to their current services. Thank you.
Thank you. Nydia Valdez. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Oh.
The commissioners, the administrator, the prosecutor, the clerk, thank you, everybody, for coming. I am a mother of 3. I was on the other side. I came from New York. My son had cancer, and I came to Cincinnati Children's Hospital to save my son's life. Years goes on, and I see myself in a predicament where my kids was taken away. It was okay. It was very uncomfortable. I never sat down. I never was comfortable. But as soon as I came into the JFS community and they assigned me to Beach Acres to do my parenting class, my coach, Miss Jennifer, was guiding me through my court dates. My parenting class teacher, my world changed. Like everything changed. It was good. I don't know how to explain it.
You are already
but it
explaining
was something where, oh my God, they not judging me or, they made me scream. They said I could yell and cry and have all my feelings. And at the end of it, they never left. Even though I was with Beach Acres for only 8 weeks of my process, it was something that I will never regret. And I have my children. Oops, I'm so sorry. I have my children. It only took 5 months. So I do have my children. I support JFS. They was good to me. Everybody in my process was good to me, even if I had my nights and days messed up. I cried enough, and they stood by me. The other side, the Beach Acres side, JFS side. So I'm here today to please give accountability to Beach Acres. Even though I only did 8 weeks, I support Beach Acres. I support JFS. I support the kids being back home with their families or with any family. The foster care mother that's with my child, she still to this day gives a good connection. So I will have a family forever.
Great.
So the experience, even though it was uncomfortable, it was the best experience I had in 5 months.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see your signs. I see your signs. Did your kids make the signs? Or, yeah. Thank you for bringing them. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Rents Winbush. Huh?
Miss Renee.
Okay, Renee, okay.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, commissioners and everyone present. My name is Renee Harris Winbush. I've been a foster mother off and on for over 20 years. I've adopted 6 kids from the county. I'm here tonight in hope that I can be a voice for the voiceless. As a foster mom, I've seen firsthand how important Job and Family Services is for children and families in our communities. Many of the children who come into foster care have experienced trauma, neglect, or instability. The support provided through Job and Family Services help ensure these children are safe, cared for, given opportunities to succeed. Passing this levy is not just about funding a government agency. It's about investing in people. It helps provide resources for vulnerable children, support for foster families, assistance for struggling parents, and services that help families stay together whenever safely as possible. Every child deserves a safe home. Every family deserves access to support during difficult times, and every community benefits when we help our most vulnerable neighbors. As a foster mother, I can tell you that these services change lives every day. I encourage you to support the levy so that Job and Family Services can provide the care, protection, and hope that so many children and families depend on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hey, Kevin. Kevin. Welcome.
Homeowners can't afford it. Hamilton County homeowners can't afford the increase. Simple math, $80 million is the renewal. Apparently it's going to expire. Then you guys are asking for 140, get it up to 144 million. That's a literally $64 million increase. There's too much fraud, waste, and abuse, and a lack of integrity that's going on. Like Ms. Lisa said, there is ways that organizations are already shifting money to be able to find cuts and things of that nature, because you can't put that onto the homeowner right now. You've seen the increase. It has increased to over 29% on the homeowner already. Y'all, property appraisal showed it in 2023 when Hamilton County. So my thing is, when you're asking homeowners to foot the bill, you got to ask, can they afford it? And then are you going to ask for more money after that? Right now, organizations, I apologize how things are going. I'm a product of the foster care system and group home. I was emancipated at 18, been in the system. I understand it. We have one of the best systems in Hamilton County right now. But right now, homeowners are struggling, and we have an increase in homelessness. So we're going to pretty much strain a homeowner, then we're going to ask for more money after they get the 64 million increase. I just believe that this just needs to be a renewal of the 80 million, and there shouldn't be no increase. And right now, I think these organizations, and especially these nonprofit organizations, need to take a look at their budgets and find other ways and alternative ways to be able to bring in additional funds and revenue, but not on the homeowner's expense. And I understand we have a lot of causes and things of that nature to helping the kids, but it's not affordable.
Thank you. Lance Brewer. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lance Brewer. My wife Erin couldn't be here because she's at a baby shower. And this is Lola. We're blessed to have Lola as our foster daughter. She's been in care since she was born, She's been with us since April of last year when she was 5 months old. She's now pushing 20 months old, and it's been a joy to watch her grow. Everyone loves Lola. Our life is all about her, and we wouldn't have it any other way. The thing about Lola and every foster child is she and they are born into this world without options and choices. They are at the mercy of so many individuals. They can't defend themselves, speak up for themselves, or take care of themselves. That's where we come in. And I say we on purpose because it takes a lot of individuals and organizations to come together to do everything they can to make sure Lola and others don't become a statistic. It's been said in our presence as Lola's foster parents multiple times that Lola is thriving, but we don't take credit for that. We need help even as she needs help. Our foster family has needed WIC. We've needed Beach Acres, JFS. We've needed access to the YMCA and the Little Gym, to daycare, to in-home therapies and stipends for developmental items and activities, including books. Lots of books, a third of which come from Dolly Parton. So we are grateful for Dolly Parton, thankful for her. If the world was run by Dolly Parton, it'd be a much better place. I could go on. There's much more to say. But funding for these things gives Lola a chance to maybe someday become someone like you, sitting where you're sitting, able to make a difference in a child's life just like hers. May it be so. I'd ask you to support this levy. I'm grateful for your time, and thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you.
And I better not forget this.
The doll, yeah. Marty Novikov. Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners, staff, community. My name is Marty Novikov. I'm here in support of the Children's Services Levy. Here in a couple different capacities. One, I'm a lifelong resident of Hamilton County, and my own family has directly benefited from human services levies just like this. I also serve on the board of directors of the Family Nurturing Center. I'm here this evening with our CEO, Jane Herms. The Family Nurturing Center is a local nonprofit that works every day alongside the county to protect children and strengthen families. And I'm here just to urge your support for the renewal of the Children's Services Levy. I think the presentation at the beginning kind of outlined some of the facts and data about why this renewal is important. Last year alone, the levy funded life-saving care for over 13,000 children, more than 6,000 families across our county, which were, you heard, for emergency shelter, medical care, 24/7 abuse hotline, and reunification support. At the Family Nurturing Center, levy funding supports our work with families in the children welfare system. More than 300 families a week through parenting time visitation, parenting education, and coaching, all to promote safety, permanency, and well-being. The research is clear. Regular, safe visitation is the strongest predictor of reunification and reduces trauma in children. And quality parenting education means shorter stays in care and less system involvement, a real return on investment. In the presentation, we did hear about the need is outpacing the resources, but without this renewal, real families lose real services and puts our most valuable future assets at risk, our children. The Children's Services Fund is very well managed, and the county has been a great steward of those funds. There have been no findings, no compliance issues, which we saw in the presentation. And I ask you to support and renew the Hamilton County levy to keep its promise to our most vulnerable children. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks. Frankie Cole. Frankie Cole. Okay. There she is. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Frankie, and I work in the Placement Department for Hamilton County's Children's Services. In previous meetings, we've heard a lot about different data and facts. I wanted to tell you about a family that I have had the honor of working with and how our agency has impacted that family. A mother reached out to our Children's Services asking for assistance. She had fallen into hard times and did not have housing for herself and her two older teenage girls. The two girls had their own battles that they were even trying to process on their own. The younger daughter faced situations no girl should ever have to go through, such as navigating substance use and surviving cancer twice. The older daughter struggled with her mental health, frequenting hospitals for her safety. She did not have interventions in place to protect her life long term. Their mother wasn't sure how she could manage everything and keep her precious girls safe. That's where we came in. I was tasked with finding the safe placement for the girls that would also ensure they received the services they needed to stabilize. I found a placement that provided all of that and more. Their caseworker was just as excellent, always there when the family needed. We were lucky enough to see the girls blossom into the best versions of themselves. They were ready to take on the world, finish school, get jobs, build a future. We prepared them for an independent living program and found one where they could have their own apartments right next door to each other. And they started planning their futures together. Their mother was so proud, and this was what motivated her to continue working towards her own goals. I wish I could say things continued so smoothly for this family, but unfortunately the younger daughter's cancer relapsed just a little over a month into their independent living program. The prognosis wasn't good, just a year. Instead of preparing a family for their future, we were preparing a young girl for her death, the sister for a future without her best friend, and preparing a mother with the duty no parent should ever have to face, burying their own child. We teamed up with the family, hospital, and community to make this the best last year of her life. Only a few weeks after the prognosis, the younger sister went into the hospital for recurrent infections. Crucial decisions needed to be made rapidly on some days. The casework team worked day and night with the mother to help with these decisions, like signing a DNR, signing off on emergency treatments and intubation, and navigating the grief to come. Unfortunately, the year we thought we had to make everlasting memories was cut short. She passed away just a few days after she was intubated. Thankfully, we were able to help this family through every part of the funeral process and give them the service their sweet girl deserved. Many showed up to her funeral, friends and family sharing beautiful stories about her sister's story being the most touching. She talked about how she struggled to find her reason in life, and the last few months showed her just how much she had to live for. She vowed to live in her sister's honor, and she has. She graduated high school and continues to do well in her program. She was accepted into college where she's living to pursue her dream of naviation. Without the continued support from our agency, it is hard to say where her and her family would be today. I am grateful to say that they have touched our lives in ways we will forever be grateful for. This is just one family story compared to the thousands of families we serve each year. Each one deserves to have this kind of support when they need it. It would be an honor to continue to providing this support and service. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sarah Reich? Reese. You guys do, that's okay.
Hello, thank you for being here. I'm here for support of the levy. My name is Sarah Reese. I serve as the Placement Department Program Director for Hamilton County Children's Services. I've been in this role since approximately 2020, but I've worked in child protection since 2009. So over the 17 years of working in child protection, most of my work has been done in investigations where I would look for safety risk, and if identified, we help those families address those concerns. That work is critical because it focuses on keeping children and families safe. In investigations, I often saw families at their lowest points. These are times when anger turns into violence, times when addiction takes priority over parenting, or families simply do not have the resources that they need. Through all of this, I learned that families and children can be incredibly resilient when they get the right resources and supports. It truly takes a village, and many families need that village around them. Now that I'm in an administrative role, I see the challenges from a different angle, especially when it comes to finding placements for youth who can't safely stay at home. When a child is unsafe, we are legally required to find them a safe place to live. Unfortunately, we have very limited options, and the needs of families are becoming more and more complex. We see more trauma, we see more violence, we're seeing more substance abuse, more neglect, more behavioral health concerns than we've ever seen. We know children who grow up in these situations then struggle with serious behaviors, violence, sexualized behaviors, suicidality, running away, and more. I remind people Behavior is the language of children who have lost their voice. My team works to be that voice. We advocate for them by finding good placements and services that help them feel safe and begin healing. We know that when children don't feel safe, their struggles grow. When they do feel safe, they can finally recover. Placement costs are rising because providers must meet higher licensing and staffing requirements. They need more trained and educated staff to properly support youth with complex needs. These costs also rise when we have to design creative solutions for youth who've not been successful in traditional placements. These creative plans help keep them safe and give them a chance to learn the skills they need. And we've seen so much success with that extra support. I know you've heard a lot of positive stories and the success stories throughout the hearing processes, and those successes are very important. But I want to make sure we do not forget, and I want to speak for the youth who can't be here today because they're still in their journey. These are youth that still need our support. They still need our advocacy, and they still need our commitment to providing them safe placements with strong quality staff and programming. They need places where they can feel safe so that they can rebuild. We can offer these services and placements, but they cost money. When people ask in the community, how do you help build the village? This is how we build the village, is supporting this levy, because that creates the village that gives the support for these youth and the chances that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Christopher Sandoval. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody coming? All right. We think our issue has been resolved. We received a phone call and an email this morning, but in the off chance that it's not, we want to bring our issue to your attention, which is our family's home equity. The red shaded maps around us is all owned by the Hamilton County Land Bank. Our house has an unrecorded implied easement which covers the driveway, the parking lot, and the garage. There is no way for our house to have off-street parking in front of our house, and there is no off-street parking on the road 24 hours in front of our house. This summer has been very stressful for us. It started out with us being offered a license, which would have extinguished our implied easement right. I think this issue has been resolved, so I'm going to be not go into a lot of detail. But if this does become in front of you, because you are voting members of the Hamilton County Land Bank Executive Board, which I understand, I would say, please make sure our home equity is protected. You know, I understand, you know, the situations that you guys have talked about, and I know that we are blessed and lucky as a family to have a home that is ours, that we own, and a lot of people aren't. But for a lot of homeowners in America, their biggest asset is their house. And if we were to lose our unrecorded property right, our house would be non-conforming, useless, and it would hold no value, even to us, unless we wanted to walk 1.5 miles down the street every day to park around the corner somewhere else. So that's our presentation. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. It was nice to hear everyone out here talking about, you know, these community issues. I've had a very sheltered life. I've been very blessed. You know, I've spent 2 days at the lighthouse. I just had an issue with my dad, but they resolved that quick. So thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'm glad you're not giving up the fight. I remember when we met. And so, as you say, your home is so important to you and all of us. So thank you. Piper Stark. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm here because my kid is in foster care, and I've never, ever experienced, one, so much waste, how many lawyers they have showing up for no crime. I've never hurt a child, ever. My kid's never been in trouble, never had, like, the kid is was absolutely wonderful. And they took her and put her in foster care for no reason. The reason why they're not giving them back, oh, they're here for a year, over a year, because they won't give them back. She had no reason to take her, not one reason. And this is trafficking humans. And then they're begging you for money at the same time. It is driving me nuts. I'm going, how is it legal to ask for money? You're trafficking kids. Like, there's no reason for you to have taken her. So, yeah, it's been about 6 months. Probably won't get her back for a lot longer because they're refusing to give her back. Not because she needs to. She was a completely healthy child. There's nothing wrong. My house is paid for. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. Nothing. So I have a real hard problem listening to this because I'm like, God, you can't create the problem and then ask for money to fix it. Mm-hmm. They've created it. They create. It's unbelievable what they've created, with the kind of stuff they've created. I have a guardian ad litem for myself because my boyfriend signed over in order to see Shay. They wanted him to sign a piece of paper, kind of admitting to something. I don't even know what it was. He said, yeah, I want to see my kid. I'm going to see my kid. He signed it. The second he did that, they issued me a guardian ad litem. They told him the only way that this could be broken up and we didn't have to do this is if she requests it. And I said, well, I'm not going to request it. Obviously you're not going to do anything. I trust you as a parent. So the second that he signed that, they issued me a guardian ad litem for competency, without a competency hearing, completely illegal. And then she requested it on my behalf. So Rocky's visits got canceled. That is how corrupt these people are. And they want money? Like, are you serious? No. So anyway, I have a house, I pay taxes, and I would rather move somewhere else if I had to. That's how bad it is.
I appreciate your comments. Yeah. Thank you. Tanazia Perry. That's okay.
With all due respect, I'm also a mother of 3 beautiful children that were taken as a result of the challenges. I'm sorry, so y'all can hear me.
Uh-huh.
I do have a brain disorder called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome as a result of being placed in foster care in Hamilton County for 14 years until I emancipated myself. I decided to emancipate myself because I was human trafficked at 15 years old. And I started to repeat those behaviors because when I got into independent living, I was still exposed to the people that human trafficked me because they placed me back into foster care after being adopted at 11. I was bullied. I was tormented. So it's really hard for me to speak in front of people about my experiences. I also, while in foster care, decided that I did not want to be a foster child and I did not want to have my children in this situation, but they're now in this situation because of my own actions as a result of trauma that I experienced in this county and other surrounding counties in Ohio. When I tried to come forward about sexual abuse, incest that I experienced in foster care with my own siblings, I was ashamed because they told me that I was lying and that I was promiscuous. I'm trying not to cry because I'm working on that right now. And I have been working on that for the last 2.5 years that I've been fighting for all of my children because of the mistakes that I made as a result of being continuously abused in foster care with my 3 siblings and the loss of my brother who was tatted on my arm because he was forced to stay with his abusers, my own biological parents. And he decided to kill himself after he found out about all of the stuff that we went through when I was pregnant with my daughter. I gave birth to my daughter just 3 days after giving birth to my daughter. They came to my hospital room in UC Hospital to try to take my baby because my own mother called on me because I refused to allow her in the hospital after she beat me while I was 6 months pregnant on the streets. And the police were called because people saw her beat me on the street pregnant with my daughter. I refused medical treatment because I was upset and I did not want to prosecute my mother. And that was the mistake that I had made because it led to the decisions that I am still trying to get away from today, where I repeated the same abuse that I suffered from in foster care because when I talked to Cincinnati Police Department to tell them about me getting human trafficked, I got so scared because I was on the same unit with other girls who had also experienced this in my own county. To later find these girls were also yes, victims of human trafficking, but also repeated the same sadistic behaviors that I repeated with my own self after I did emancipate, because during my stay in independent living, I was given $50 a week. With my condition, I could not eat, and it impacted my mental stability because of my postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And it is hard to even look you guys in the face because I had to look so many caseworkers in the face and tell them that I was abused. My siblings were abused. We were forced to lick each other's privates. And I'm sorry for the gore of my language, but I just want y'all to be very, very understanding of everything that we experienced together until we were separated. And then those patterns were still repeated because we were not given the proper treatment. Instead, we were given pills, which my children are now being court-ordered to take, some of them, one of which I had to fight back tears in order to deny the need for pills, because I knew that because of my actions and being separated from my children, they are now facing the same traumas that they have been trying to address to Family Nurturing Center staff. And I'm very glad that he is here today, because I want you to know that their fence has still not been fixed. And my son, who has autism, has been trying to run and elope from the center and goes through that gate that is still open because someone decided to hit that gate where I have to see my children in the playground, and I'm being refused to be moved from that visitation center and given back my home visits because I repeated the same pattern of domestic violence, because my mother also came for support with domestic violence from my own dad, who has been seeing my children, and also tried to come on to me when I was pregnant with my son, my last child. That's why I named him the name that I gave him, because I did not want to keep continuing this cycle. And I tried to get away from my abusive parents, and I also tried to get away from my own first abusive boyfriend, who turned out to be trying to manipulate me to pimp myself. Thank you for listening.
Well, I thank you for your bravery, for being honest and coming forward, because I know it's not easy. And I'm sure you're getting some assistance to kind of deal with your trauma also.
I found assistance on my own after being forced to be in a psych ward after coming forward about being raped in 2024, which caused my kids to be removed because I delayed calling the police. And I appreciate your apology, because no caseworker has said sorry to me at all.
Yeah.
My own caseworker accused me of being a user when I was not a user, and even fabricated some of my documentation to have my kids removed. Thank you for listening.
I appreciate your honesty and coming forward. Thank you. Okay, Reggie Schaefer. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
My name
evening.
is Reggie Schaefer, and for the last 2 years, my wife, Catherine, who is unfortunately not here, she's taking care of one of our 6 fosters. We've been fostered with Beach Acres and have children from Hamilton County JFS for over the last 2 years now. We've opened our home to 2 little girls. One is 18 months, who we received her when she was 4 days old. We have another 4-month-old who we received her when she was 4 days old as well, trying to adopt our 18-month-old. Both of them have taught us something about resilience, love, and what our system really needs. We didn't start this journey to complain. We started it because we saw kids who needed a safe place when the world fell apart. I'll be honest, this system has stretched thin. There are so many caseworkers, which have been some of the most dedicated people we have ever met. But how do you give any kid the attention they deserve when these caseworkers are so overloaded, understaffed? Kids sit in temporary placements longer than they should. Siblings get separated because there aren't enough homes. Mental health supports get delayed. Foster parents like us, we burn out faster than we should just because there isn't the backup that's there to help support people like us, the caseworkers, everybody. When JFS doesn't have enough funding, those gaps get bigger, and the kids are the ones that pay the price. JFS and Beach Acres have been a crucial success as foster parents. Hamilton County JFS needs more funding for hiring, keeping good caseworkers, better training for all of us who step up, more support services to families so they don't fall apart in the first place, resources for the kids who land in care, and these children didn't choose this path. They deserve more than a bare minimum. They deserve a fighting chance to break the cycle, to build a better life. I'm not asking for sympathy here. I'm asking to see that every day the potential in the kids and the real barriers they stand in their way. If we invest in JFS, communities, and a brighter future for our neighbors and our children, and give them the working tools that they need to survive. As the other foster parent said, these kids, they don't have a choice and they don't have a voice. We are the voice for them at this point. So, thank you.
Thank you. Dean Woodring, welcome.
Hi, I am Dean Woodring. I'm the CEO of 4C for Children. And although we do not directly benefit from the levy, we are here in support of all of the community that supports children. Our primary business is to provide childcare. However, over the course of our 52 years, our role has evolved. And several years ago, the state empowered us to recruit families for child care or for foster care. So for anybody who's listening who's been touched by these stories, I would encourage you to consider opening your home to foster children. It is an incredibly important role in our society and in Hamilton County specifically. But more to the point, in those last 3 years, since we have been recruiting and retaining families, we have learned the vital importance of supports for our partner organizations, and we would just like to urge people to support this levy. And we would like to affirm the statistics that we saw at the beginning of this meeting, that the needs, in fact, are getting much more complex. The dollars that are needed are just getting bigger and bigger, unfortunately. So we urge support for the levy. Thank you.
Thank you. That was our last card, but we do have a video of a young man who was not able to be here. If you wanted to, Tayshawn Stevens. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Just briefly, but Tayshawn Stevens is the kiddo that's going to be in this video. It's pretty awesome. He is a kiddo who came into care in 2019. He did move into our planned permanent living arrangement, which is our PPLA legal status, where he then emancipated from our care. He has a great story. He has some disabilities, but was able to get accepted into Wright State University, where he graduated, which was amazing. And then he moved into the Bridges program and has been very successful since. So we want to share his story. So it's going to be his video. I do want to note in the video, just to clarify, he did receive a vehicle that was a handicap accessible vehicle. We did not pay for the vehicle, as it's kind of indicated in there. But we did work with our community partners to get him that vehicle, which has allowed him some of the success that he's had. So pretty amazing. I hope you enjoy the video.
Thank you.
My life has always been a little bit challenging, but I'm grateful for where I am today. When I first got into foster care, I was homeless and living in a hospital. But soon that would change thanks to JFS. They found me an amazing placement with supportive and inspiring people who I felt cared deeply about me. At the time, none of my real family could care for me, so being put into foster care was really scary and challenging. But with JFS's help, I was able to be placed in an amazing place, and I wouldn't be able to do anything that I've done without them. JFS has helped pay for a way for me to get my van, and even potentially driving by paying for my lessons to Columbus. They gave me gas money, even clothes when I had none, and it was great. The HEMI program also helped with a lot of things too. Gave me money to be able to do college. They paid way through the whole way. They gave me room and board, and it also made it easier for me to focus on my school studies, knowing that it was paid for by JFS. I was even invited to an award ceremony a while back, which was pretty amazing. I felt pretty appreciated and loved. Still, with all the support and funding, I got to live out my dreams that I never thought I'd be able to do. I had very good case managers, like her name was Patricia Waller, Allison, and of course, Daisha. She's amazing. So after graduation, I plan on getting my master's degree in psychology. In the future, I hope, just master's degree in psychology. I'm probably going to face, tons more challenges in my future, but I hope JFS is still in my corner, and I wouldn't be where I am today without them. So thank you for everything that you've done for me, and that's it. My name is Tayshawn Stevens, and hope you enjoy it.
Just so articulate, and his future is just wide open. So thank you for sharing that video. We don't have any more cards, as I said, but I'm going to open it up for my colleagues to say anything they'd like to say as it relates to this hearing. Vice President Reese.
First of all, I want to thank everyone who came out this evening and also came out earlier this week to our hearings. I first of all want to thank all those who work to help our children, whether you're providers, foster parents, kinship parents, workers, the courts, JFS. It certainly takes a village. The other thing that we have heard, how great of a system we have here in Hamilton County of collaboration, and I think that's so very, very important. One of the things I would hope, even after the decision is made regarding the levy, that this becomes regular, that we don't have to wait on a levy to hear the success stories. I think these stories need to be told on a regular basis, and on our agenda, we'll be voting on a new director of JFS, and I met with him earlier, and that's one of the things I indicated, that these stories should be out on a regular basis because there are a lot of success stories that could be inspiring to others. The other thing I think is important to note, it's unfortunate that this is an unfunded mandate. These are services we have to provide with little to almost zero real financial help from the state. But we have to provide these services, so that makes it very difficult. I don't think there's a question of do we support our children. That's not a question. That is the standard. Anyone that has any type of heart understands that the children are not just the future, but the children are right now. I think that the question now becomes, how do we continue, as the taxpayers have done over and over and over? They have supported children's services and made those sacrifices, and we've been one Hamilton County unified. I think one of the toughest things now is not whether we should fund children's services, but how do we do it and who should pay for it. I think it's very unfortunate to me in terms of the message in the county right now, a message of we've got stadiums that fund billionaires and they only have to go to the ballot one time in the late 90s. But then on the children's side, we got to keep going every single so many years. And I really think it should be the reverse. I've asked the administrator, and he is working, and he has worked, it's not finalized today, to comb and provide every single scenario. If there's a scenario that we could borrow against future earnings that we'll be receiving from the stadiums and make the children guaranteed. And then when it's time for the stadiums, we can put it on the ballot and the people can make a decision if they'd like to make that increase. And I understand that they're possibly looking to it. Now, it's a radical change from what we have done in the past. But these are very difficult times. We cannot have our allies become our enemies. Hamilton County taxpayers have been our allies. I'm also hearing, how do we balance between homeowners right now who can barely hold on to their homes? And we're talking about a potential 75% increase. Now, we've got some others on here because our board has said, hey, let's look at some other scenarios. And we're going to comb everything that we can before making that decision. It would not be good to have something on the ballot that does not be successful. So not only do we want it successful, but we want to also make sure people can hold on to their homes. If we did the other one that I talked to, we would maybe be they're on a sales tax component, the stadiums. And maybe there's something that we can do there. Now, many will say this is a radical thing. Commissioner Reese, we can't do that. We can't do it. But I'm here to tell you, this community, this county, not just the elected officials, not just the service providers, but the entire county, private, public, together must stand up for the children and all make a sacrifice, not just the homeowners. And I also think the way that we're moving right now, we will have to look at a new funding model eventually, if not today, but down the road. The days of funding everything on property taxes is coming to an end, eventually. And so I think as a county, we can think futuristically, put our heads together, and come up with a way to make sure we stabilize the funding for our young people. It's just amazing to me, and it really hurts me, that young people, our children, have to beg to get on a ballot every couple years. But stadiums, it was a one-time vote for eternity. That's backwards. So we're looking at how do we switch those models. Foster children funded with a solid plan where we don't have to come back to homeowners every couple years and they're out here struggling. While the stadiums only have to go one time. They're locked in. That's backwards. So I'm looking for an institutional shift in priorities. And so I'm hopeful that we can look into it. I'm not sure I could get it all done before the timeline, but I think it's worth looking at. There are other components on here, looking at deferring possibly our capital budget and putting some of those dollars into something temporary. I think that's on the table. I'm trying to get lower than 75%. That's pretty big. That's a big thing to ask people in this economy. So I'm not just going on what I think personally is what I'm hearing, and not a lot of these people are at the hearings. I was on the elevator, the lady was very upset going to pay the property taxes. And so I'm trying to make sure that we can move in unison versus someone having to make a choice between saving my house and their house and their family, but also being able to be supportive. Over the years, the taxpayers have been, I think, very good in saying we want to support our children, and I want to keep them in that same mindset. So it's not about whether we want to support our children. We have no choice. We want to support them. It's just a matter now for us, pen to paper, how do we fund it? Who pays for it? How much can the people afford? How much can we afford? Is the economy going to recover? Do we go with something shorter? Because usually history shows the economy goes in a cycle. Then the economy gets better, we can come back with more. So those are the type of questions that we have to answer and roll up our sleeves. So again, thank you all for what you already have done. And let me say, I want to thank the taxpayers of Hamilton County, because we wouldn't even be in this room if they didn't make the sacrifice. So let's try to have something that's a balance where people can hold on to their home, but also support our children and not have to make a choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you all for being here. We've had 3 hearings. This is the last of the 3. And so your participation in this process is critical to helping us understand the needs in the system, the needs of kids in this community, and what we need to do to respond to put something on the ballot related to the needs that you've pointed out, particularly the foster parents who have come and shared the stories about what they've done related to the kids that they're fostering for this community. In so many ways, you then recognize that this is a moral obligation of this community to take care of these kids. And we've got people stepping up every single day, hundreds, thousands of people stepping up every single day to make sure the kids are safe in this community. And we're very, very grateful for that service. I want to also thank staff. We put a lot of work into this. Staff, Lisa Webb in particular, has put a lot of work in. I know Jeff Aludo's put a lot of work in. We've got a lot of scenarios on the agenda later on to give us choices as commissioners. As we've heard testimony and been listening to the community, how do we handle this situation? So we've got a big decision to make, and we want to make sure that we have all the options in front of us to make an educated decision. So I've said this at every other hearing. This is a balance. We're trying to create a balance here, trying to make sure we've got the dollars necessary to keep kids safe, and not only keep kids safe, and I've said that multiple times, but it's also to help kids thrive. It's more than keeping kids safe. That is ultimately the goal, but in addition to that, create an environment where kids thrive in this community, whether they're from good circumstances or not. And so that's what's in front of us, but we have to keep in mind this balance between the need and then the ability of taxpayers to fund that need. And so it's, what can the taxpayers do by way of this property tax increase? How much is too much before we tip the scale and people are unwilling to vote in favor of the levy? And so it's a very difficult decision. I know we're all pondering it and we've all spent some time thinking about it. But we've got to put something that's smart and reasonable on the ballot that meets the need that will win in November. Because in the end, this is up to the citizens of Hamilton County. And so we've got to give them a good option to think about when they go to the polling place in November. So again, I really appreciate all the testimony. It's very, very helpful as we try to make this very difficult decision. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Just a couple comments. If this levy does not pass, it'll be a tragedy. We have to have a levy. Right now, as was mentioned earlier, we're looking at the level of millage that we want to submit to the auditor to look at how much we're going to ask our taxpayers for. This is a right now issue, and we have to make a right now decision. It's no question. It's great to look at out of the box thinking possibly as we move forward, but right now, about 3 months, we're going to put something on the ballot. In addition, I'm really concerned about the fact, and it's not official yet, but Cincinnati Public School is looking at putting a possible levy on the ballot. So I don't like the fact that our people, our residents, have to look at the option of which children do we support? We don't want to choose. They all need help, and so that's going to be a difficulty for us and the county if people choose that they just want to support the CPS levy. So that's another issue. This is a hard choice, and so as we look forward to what we need to do, I'll be a social worker 50 years next year. And so I've been in it and out of it and still in it. So we as people understand the difficulty of our young people and some of the adults that we help, and they've indicated that this evening by their comments. So we'll just have to move forward and do the best that we can and hope that the people, the taxpayers that we ask to support this will understand the necessity of our babies. They determine our future. And so that's where I am right now. We'll be coming forward with some positive statements as far as what millage we're going to seek.
Commissioner? Can I follow up on the CPS one? Mr. Ludo, could you find out what, I guess, what they're proposing for a percentage? Because I think you're right, when people look at their total budget, and that would kind of help as well, because, you know, what would be the increase if they went with CPS and us? I don't know what their percentage is. I think that'll help us as we're looking at what percentage on our end as well.
I know they delayed their decision at their last board meeting, so I don't know if they're waiting for us to see what we're going to do. I don't know, but yeah, that's a good point.
Did they propose anything?
No.
A number?
I didn't hear a proposal. I know the budget was determined, their general budget. Lisa, did you hear different?
I think they're still weighing options. There were
Right.
3 different options, at least just from reading in the Inquirer, that they were looking at. And I think the tax levy, at least one of them, was a new levy, a new operating levy.
Okay. I just would like to see those because, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
you know, that for the people, it's the bottom line, whether it's, you know, one levy or the other, it would be a total.
Absolutely.
So that might could help us, even if we know what their 3 options were, so that as we're looking, because again, you know, we don't want to put something that we know is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I can look that up and share that with the commissioner.
Okay, thank you. That's
Okay.
a good question.
Thank you. So we'll move forward for comments and motions. Let me see, how do you guys want, you want to have our comments and motions? You want to go through our agenda first? How would you prefer? You want to go through first? Okay. All right, we'll do it. For our regular agenda, we have commission administration. We have 3 items to come forth.
Commissioners, if it's,
Well, I'm going to see what he's going to say.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jeff. That's why I was asking
Yeah,
about if we went through comments, then we would go through by leaves, which there is a very important by leave on here.
Correct.
But
I would ask,
know.
though, if we're going to start with the regular agenda, Commissioners, items 1 through 3, I would ask, I think it might make sense to also consider by leave items 10 through 16 along with that. These are all, that's items 1 through 3 on the regular agenda, items 10 through 16 on the by leave agenda. These all, as the Commissioners were just saying, these all correspond with various property tax levy options that the board may wish to consider as it contemplates what level of a property tax levy to put on for voter consideration in November related to the Children's Services Levy, what you just, the hearing of what you just heard. The scenarios include everything from a flat renewal.
So where are you on our agenda?
I'm on items 1 through 3,
Okay.
regular agenda, as well as items 10 through 16.
Because 10 through 13 is normally part of our comments and motions. So.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
I was asking if the board would consider moving 10 through
Sure,
16 up to.
that'll be fine.
So you have items 1 through 3 on the regular agenda, items 10 through 16 on the by leave agenda.
Okay.
So these relate to everything from a flat renewal of the Children's Services Levy, the TLRC recommended level is on here, some of the PCG scenarios are on here, and there's also, as the commissioners talked about, there's various reduction scenarios in various terms through terms of 2 through 5 years. So basically, we're trying to give the board as much flexibility and as many options as you can possibly consider, so that, and we can provide some more analysis this coming week, so the board understands the impacts of these. Again, just in the spirit of giving you as many options as possible. I do want to say that what you would be doing tonight is not voting to certify something to the ballot. This is only providing options for what could be considered between now and the final meeting you have. We have a meeting scheduled for August the 3rd that would be the final date for voting to put something on the ballot. So Lisa, anything additional that you would add to that?
Nope, that suffices everything. Yeah, these are the options available. It's requesting the auditor to certify the options. Any ballot resolution that the board wants to consider must have an auditor certification matching the total revenue amount as well as the length of time for that levy.
Thank you. And I would just advocate that items 1, 2, 3, really no need for discussion unless my colleagues would like that. This is just a recommendation. So do you have any discussion on either specific one? Millage?
No, there's a lot on here, and I know, it's a lot on here, so we'll have to see how we would supplement. And I wanted to have a chance to talk with Mr. Ludo to see if any of them match some of the comments and issues that I brought forward. So I'm going to abstain today because I know there are a lot of them, and I need to see which one is closer. And I did that last time, so.
Okay, so you're abstaining from 1, 2, and 3 to submit to the auditor?
And as well as the 10.
Okay, let's do 1 through 3.
Okay.
Commissioner Greenhouse?
Yeah, I'm happy to support these options. I mean, these are the options that we will be weighing as we try to figure out where this balance lies that we just talked about. So I'm happy to support.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adopt items 1, 2, 3.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Abstain.
Thank you. Okay.
Did you want to consider 10 through 16?
Yeah, but I thought you were going to say something about
About them? No, I don't have anything more to say about those. Those are really they're just additional options. Again, everything in options 10 through 16, everything from a flat renewal to various lower scenarios that the commission may wish to consider and analyze over the next couple of weeks before considering what to actually certify to the ballot.
Okay. Any comments?
No.
Okay. Any
Well,
comments?
I'll just put a finer point on it. I don't want people to be confused about what we're doing. So these options, we've got some recommendations from the Tax Levy Review Committee. And by the way, I do want to thank them. We forgot to thank the Tax Levy Review Committee for all the hard work that they put in getting a recommendation to us in the first place. So that was the start of the process for us. But these vary by way of how much money we would ask the voters for and the term. Usually these run 5 years. There are 5-year options on here. There are 4 years, 3 years, 2 years options at different amounts. And so that's what we're considering tonight. Again, just giving ourselves enough options to consider as we move into a vote here in the next couple of weeks. But I'm happy to go ahead and support these.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adopt items 10 through 16.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Abstain.
Thank you. All righty. So we'll just go back to our by-leaves.
Do you want to go through the by-leaves?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Okay, sure. Happy to do that, commissioners. Got a big agenda tonight, so let me just find page 1 of my by-leaves here. Thank you, Commissioner. So by-leave items, commissioners. By-leave 1, and I'm going to ask Holly if she wouldn't mind to come forward to handle by-leaves 1 and 2, which relate to impact grant recommendations to the board.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
By-leaves 1 and 2 are economic impact grant agreements with 2 communities. The board previously received a presentation on all of the grant recommendations at their May 12th staff meeting. So by-leave 1 is a resolution authorizing a grant agreement with Sycamore Township for $650,000. Grant funds will be used to support redevelopment of a blighted portion along Reading Road corridor. And by-leave 2 is a resolution authorizing an agreement with the Village of Woodlawn for $375,000. These grant funds will be used to acquire some underutilized commercial property as part of the village's long-term strategy along Springfield Pike corridor. So again, both were already reviewed with the board at the May meeting.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate the fact that they are grants. By-leave 1 and 2 are grants, and that because some people think, well, $650,000, they could put that toward children's services, but it's a whole different pot of money that is designated specifically for different areas. So, thank you. Any comments on by-leave 1 or 2?
I just want to say on by-leave 1 and 2, these economic impact grants are important. We've got 49 municipalities, aging infrastructure, and certainly need to be able to support if we're going to be a strong county. So I'm happy to support this, and we've had others that we supported, but this time Sycamore Township and Woodline, and we've asked a lot of questions, you've answered them, but again, we've got an aging infrastructure, we've got 49 municipalities, and we have to make sure that they are strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Holly, for bringing this forward. This, to me, is a recognition of the partnership between the county and the 49 jurisdictions throughout the county. They identify catalytic projects in their communities. They provide some of the funding themselves, and then we provide some of the funding in partnership. So I'm thrilled to be passing along on these grant applications, because when these communities thrive, we thrive, because it's all to the betterment of our citizens. So happy to be supportive.
Thank you. I also support. I'd like to make a motion to adopt by leave 1 and 2.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. By leave number 3 is a resolution authorizing the execution of an estoppel certificate between the Board of County Commissioners and Vantage Anderson. So back in 2021, Commissioners, the Board passed an economic development incentive, community reinvestment area incentive program for an economic development in Anderson Township with Vantage Anderson LLC. The estoppel certificate is as this LLC is out getting financing. The lender has asked the county to assure that that CRA is still in effect, and that's what this estoppel certificate does, is just assure that the CRA is still in effect so that they can get the financing they need for the project. So the administration recommends approval.
Let's see if we can go on through and
Want me just to go on
yeah,
through? Yeah,
and
sure.
then we'll make sure we separate the one that we need to separate.
Sure.
Okay.
By leave number 4 is the acceptance of a subgrant from the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Services. This is the acceptance of a grant in the prosecutor's office for implementation of the prosecutor's domestic violence program within the prosecutor's office at $116,132. By leave 5 is the allocation of $1 million in Home American Rescue Plan funding to Gloria's Place. This is for, more broadly, it's the construction of 44 units. Specifically, there's 5 of those units that are being included that are being funded through the Home American Rescue Plan Act funding, and those units are focusing on sheltering people that are at risk for homelessness. By leave number 6, I don't know if John Brugan, is it John? I'm going to ask Commissioners that this is the adoption of the tax budget for 2027. I'm going to ask John Brugan to speak to this briefly.
Hello, Commissioners. As you know, the tax budget we adopt annually. It's required by the state, and it's essentially a process whereby we estimate based on prior activity what the budget for 2027 might look like, and to justify those early estimates to the Budget Commission. It's an exercise we have to do, and it's before you today.
Thank you. You shared this with us earlier this week. So.
Right, and I always like to remind folks that this tax budget in no way is a recommendation on policy or funding levels for anything in 2027. It's just a rough guess.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. By leave number 7, this is the authorization of an exemption to competitive bidding and an agreement with Johnson Controls Fire Protection. This relates to some kitchen fire hood suppression equipment in the kitchens at Paycor Stadium. There's 36 hoods that where the emergency, the fire suppression systems have surpassed their useful life and have failed. There's 36 of them, and in order to actually use that equipment and make food in those areas, They have to get repaired immediately, so this authorizes an exemption to competitive bidding because the estimated cost does go above the competitive bid threshold. Administration recommends approval. And item by leave 8, Commissioners, is a resolution authorizing a license agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation. This agreement is a license agreement for the use of parking spaces currently owned by ODOT at Longworth Hall for use by Bengals patrons for parking during the season. And this was included in the county's financial model and in our budget for parking payments this year in the 2026-2027 season.
Jeff, if we can bypass
Yeah.
by leave 9.
Yeah, and you've acted on by leaves 10 through 16, so if you want to consider everything through 8, Commissioners, that would be the conclusion of the by leaves at this point until we hit by leave 9.
Okay. Any comments as it relates to 3 through 8?
Yes, I do. Item number 3, you said we voted on it in 2021. I want to ask you, what took so long for us to, we're voting on something today
Yeah, so-
regarding the community investment area agreement?
Yeah, so Commissioners, and I'll ask Holly if she has any additional detail, but this relates to financing that LLC is getting for improvements and additional work on that project. And in order to get that financing, the lender needs to know that this CRA is still in existence. So that's the purpose of the action for the board this evening. So Holly, I don't know if you have any additional information from the township on it?
Nothing from the township, but yes, the project is constructed.
Okay.
They're now moving from a construction loan to a permanent loan for the property. And that lender has asked for this.
Okay, yeah, that sounds better. Okay, item number, by leave 8. And can you go into a little more detail? You said this is parking. There was a number of spaces in the Bengals lease. They had to have so much parking. Where is this, you said?
Yeah, so happy to, Commissioner. So this is parking at Longworth Hall. So yes, under the current Bengals lease, we're required to maintain a certain level of parking. If that parking drops below that level, there is a reconciliation payment to the team that's in the lease. So because of the Brent Spence Bridge project, we have had some parking come offline. So we expect to drop below the number of parking spaces that we owe to the Bengals in the lease. Leasing this parking from ODOT at Longworth Hall. It's at Longworth Hall, so that's west of the stadium, is much more cost-effective than making that reconciliation payment to the team. It also makes sure that there's more parking available on game day as well. So that's the rationale behind the agreement, Commissioner.
Okay, just had a question, because isn't the tailgating at Longworth Hall?
They
Would this
do
affect tailgaters?
tailgating. Well, this will continue to make that available, but it will be parking. It will be Bengals parking through the team, but it will continue to be available for tailgating. Yes.
Okay, because if you're parking your car but not tailgating, I'm trying to just make sure the tailgaters are not cut. Are they going to pay a fee, extra fee? Do they pay it to us, the Bengals?
So we will lease the space, but then yes, that there will still be a charge to the people that are coming there through securing their parking pass for the season, just as there are in any other lot that someone would secure a parking pass on Bengals game day. But people that are going there will still be able to tailgate. Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure it's the tailgaters. This will not cut the amount of tailgate space, right?
It is surface parking, so it is available for tailgating. It would just be through, to access this parking, it would be through the Bengals parking system. So you would have to get that through by getting a space through the Bengals and the team, yes.
Well, I hope it doesn't get more expensive. I don't want those tailgaters coming after me. And then you have approximate.
Yeah.
242,000 approximate.
Yeah, so it is, I believe it's $40, there's 475 spaces there. So there's roughly 2 preseason games. There are 8 home games, but then there's also the potential for postseason games as well. So whether there's a postseason game or not would affect whether or not there is additional payments at the end of the year.
Gotcha. And I thought the Port Authority got the Longworth Hall. What's going on with that?
I know the port was initially talking to ODOT about perhaps purchasing that site. Those conversations, to my knowledge, stopped several months ago, and ODOT had decided that they, at this point in time, did not want to sell the property, at least at this point.
And there's no way, because ODOT is doing this bridge, that they couldn't work with us and we don't have to pay them $242,000?
That this was, ODOT wanted to work to make sure that the parking was available, but they have operational costs on the site as well, and they purchased the site, so they were looking to lease it to us on terms that would be favorable compared to our reconciliation payment to the team.
Okay, gotcha. I would just ask on number 8, I'd like to vote on that individually, not as a package. So those are the ones that I have on that. That's all I have on the by leaves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. I wanted to ask a question about by leave number 7, the exemption to competitive bidding for the emergency repairs. I understood your explanation for this, but I'm wondering if, at least in the future, we can pay more attention to when these appliances or the hoods expire so that we don't find ourselves in a situation where we are exempting the process from competitive bidding, because I don't think that's generally a great idea. I understand the need for this. I assume it's for upcoming events that need this equipment in good repair so they can make food. I understand that, but in the future, I would certainly like to pay more attention to these things expiring so that we don't find ourselves in a situation.
And it's understood, Commissioner, and completely agree. And in my time, this is I do not recall this ever having been done before. So I think they do have a pretty good track record of monitoring these things and making sure that they do competitive bidding. This was one that I think was more of a surprise. Yes.
Yeah, well, I've also never seen this before, so that's why it stuck out to me. So
the only other time we've done things like this is when I think there was flooding in the courthouse and there was equipment that was getting damaged, and we had to do some things outside of competitive bidding. So you're correct, it's rare.
yeah, this seems like, though, it would be preventable in the future, so appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no problems with the by leaves before us. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to adopt items 3 through 7.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt items by leave 8.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Abstain.
Thank you. Okay, we did, if we want to do by leave.
Would you like me to hit number 9?
Yeah.
Okay. By leave 9, Commissioners, is a special item tonight on the agenda. This is, as you can see, is the employment agreement for our new Director of the County Department of Job and Family Services, related to Mr. Bob Anderson, who is here with us this evening. We've been, as the board is well aware, we've been searching for a director for the agency for some time, really since late last year, when Director Michael Patton departed. It's taken us some time to fill the position, and as you know, and as you just heard through the first hour and a half of this meeting, this is a critical point for this agency. But I'm thrilled tonight to have Bob here and to be able to recommend him as the new director for the department. Bob comes to us from Delaware County, where he served as director of the Department of Job and Family Services for Delaware County for 8 years. He was the assistant director for Seneca County for 15 years, following his service as county administrator in Seneca County for 7 years. So don't hold that against him, that he actually served as a county administrator. So Bob knows the unique system of county governance in Ohio. He knows the complexities of a county-administered system of children's services in Ohio. He knows how federal actions are impacting JFS systems in Ohio specifically. He is a leader at the state level in terms of the Directors Association. He's known for his proficiency in financial management, labor management, leadership development. I've spoken with many people over the past few weeks, and the words that I've heard used to describe Bob by those who have worked with him include creative, smart, forward-thinking, comfortable in any situation, progressive, and the type of director that others look to for his opinion before forming their own. So I'm thrilled to have Bob as a part of our leadership team and happy to recommend him as the director and the approval of BiLeave 9. Commissioners, in so doing, I do want to thank John Nelson, who's also here today. In fact, the entire team at JFS, but John in particular for all of his work holding down the fort of JFS over the past 7 months. John is probably the only person in the room more excited than me to recommend Bob as the new director of JFS. So, Commissioners, with that, I will turn it over to you with my firm and solid recommendation for the approval of BiLeave 9.
Thank you so much. I'll open it for comments. Vice President Reese.
First of all, I want to thank and commend our interim JFS director, John Nelson, the transition and getting us into the new building, managing this building, walking us through with documentation as it relates to the levy, which is tough, keeping the wheels on the car so it can keep running, and working on us as we have made several cuts, but still balancing JFS as being the safety net for the county. So I want to thank you for that. As we move into, yes, please. He's always walking around with that laptop. You can't, that iPad and that laptop, as soon as you say something, he jump up. I got it right here on the laptop. But I want to welcome Robert Anderson. I think you like to be called Bob Anderson. It was really tough in looking for who would be the next director of JFS. In the toughest times, baptism by fire, jumping into the grease that's already hot with a children's levy. And so some did not apply because they said, oh man, it's hot and heavy. But I want to thank those who did apply, but also Bob Anderson, who said, I'll step up and take the wheel at a critical time in our county. As Mr. Ludo read the resume and the diversity of leadership experience from a director and dealing with a political body, county commissioners, et cetera, I think he brings the experience and understanding of leadership. He and I had a call this afternoon before he came in, and one of the things I had said to him is that JFS now, and we have a central campus now, and Hamilton County has moved into the neighborhood. We're not downtown, where mostly office buildings or courthouses. We have moved into the center of Hamilton County, and we're in the neighborhood. We are a new neighbor here in the Bond Hill community, and we're connected to even Corinthian Baptist Church, which is our neighbor right behind us. And so we have a great opportunity to build relationships that go beyond the building and the walls. We have consolidated different services here, so it becomes a one-stop, one-of-a-kind, and we've never had this before. There will be challenges, one being the Children's Services Levy. And what I really believe as the director, there has to be a balance between trying to get a levy done and introducing yourself to Hamilton County. And they've got to be done simultaneously because trust is a major factor as we move forward, because we are the safety net, not just for the children, we're safety net for the seniors and safety net for the veterans, safety net for those who've lost their jobs. So he has to kind of have a dual track and move quick, because people are going to want to know who you are and what you stand for. The employees, obviously, you need to meet quickly with them. Right now, I believe that the morale is up. When I first got elected, morale was down, and our last director did increase morale, and Mr. Nelson has kept it going. So I'm excited about the decision today, as we make a very important decision on who will lead the safety net of this county, because so many people are counting on it. So excited to support this as we get moving, and after the vote, we got to get busy immediately. There's no warm up. You're already in the game, and we're passing you the ball, and we're looking for you to make the jump shot. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you're here tonight, because you got to hear about the passion of this community for Jobs and Family Services and for Children's Protective Services. So I'm glad you got to hear firsthand what the community thinks about the programming at JFS and what it means to our community, and particularly to our kids. There are some committee members here who helped with the selection process. This was a long process, as was stated, and they hung in there with us, and I'm delighted with the recommendation of Bob Anderson for this position. I think it is the right time to have Bob come into the county at a challenging time, but he's got the ability, the expertise, the experience to hit it running. And so I'm very grateful for your willingness to accept the challenge that we have in front of us currently. I also want to thank John Nelson. John is going to still be around, so it's not like farewell, but you have really done a stellar job as the interim, John. You stepped into that space very quickly, and we're very, very grateful for that. And all the rest of the JFS staff, others are here as well. I talked around a little bit to other folks that I know in the state about Bob, and it's just out of curiosity. Bob comes from Delaware County. I happen to know a couple county commissioners up in Delaware County, and so I mentioned to one of them, and Bob gave me permission to mention to that county commissioner, hey, what do you think about Bob Anderson? You know, because we're thinking about hiring. And he said, oh my gosh, he said, don't take Bob Anderson from us. And I said, well, that ship has sailed, and he's coming down. But he had really great things to say about you, and they will miss you up in Delaware County, but I am gratified that he had such high things, aspirational things to say about you. The other person I contacted was a member of the CCAO staff, County Commissioners Association of Ohio. Rachel is the one that handles all the social services and human services programs for CCAO, and she said that you are one of her go-tos in the state of Ohio when there's a question or a concern and she needs a quick answer, she calls you. And so again, I feel very confident that you are going to bring that depth of experience and knowledge to the role here in Hamilton County. We're one of the big urbans. We certainly need that because there are a lot of challenges here, but there are also a lot of opportunities here. And I think we've had a conversation as well about some of those opportunities that exist. And I'm really looking forward to you starting here and getting going on some of the things that we've got in front of us. So thank you so much, and welcome to Hamilton County.
Thank you. Just a couple comments. First and foremost, John Nelson, interim director, your work has been impeccable. And I thank you for your effort and what you've done with the staff and for the children. It's just, words cannot express my appreciation. And also, Bob has a huge task ahead of him. We already talked about it. And for me, I think, and as a leader, teamwork, of course, is very important. We don't want the staff to think that people are going to come in and just change everything, and I don't think he will do that. I think he has been a leader long enough to know to listen to those that have already been part of this process. And secondly, collaboration in the community. the community is just really funny about people until they get to know you. And so just getting out there and letting people know who you are and what you plan on doing, I believe, is extremely important for the success of this agency and for your success. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to adopt by leave 9.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And if you'd like to come up and. Thank you. Evening.
Don't have anything prepared, but I just want to thank you. I appreciate the trust that you're instilling in me to work with this great agency. I know there is a lot of team here and staff here that I'm looking forward to meeting and getting started and hitting the ground running. And I'm very excited to come to Hamilton County.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we will move on. Engineer, where are you? There he is. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
4 items tonight. First item is item number 4, resolution for a consultant agreement with Fishbeck Engineering for engineering services on the Cliff Road landslide correction. This is a project that we received Ohio Public Works Commission construction funds for, so this is for the engineering portion. It's located in Whitewater Township. The amount is $222,906 coming out of Permissive Auto Fund. Item number 5 is a resolution approving the 2026 Municipal Road Fund Program. We held the hearing on Thursday, June 18th. We have 14 projects. We are asking to approve all 14 that applied this year. The total is $3,742,560. Item number 6 is a resolution authorizing a joint agreement with Sycamore Township to join in their project for the East Kemper Road and Snyder Road projects. These are both county roads that the township applied for SORTA funding for and was approved. And we would like to participate with them. This is a $6 million project. The county engineer's portion will be $771,940 and will come out of the Permissive Auto Fund. Item number 7 is a resolution authorizing agreement for the purchase of property deemed necessary for the right and privilege to enter upon property and make necessary improvements for project 502304, which is the Berkshire Road Replacement Project located in Anderson Township. This, the cost is $7,564 for a temporary easement and a standard highway easement. And this is also out of Permissive Auto Funds.
Thank you. Commissioner,
No questions, thank you.
any questions?
No questions, but I must say the engineer's energy level seems to be lower than usual. So
I'm
maybe
sorry. It's been a long day.
We're bumping up against that late part of the evening, so I
Yes.
appreciate your
Yes.
patience in being here, Eric. You seem very, very tired, so hopefully you can leave after these items.
Eric, item 6.
Yes.
How much is the total project?
The total project is $6,144,498.
Okay, because I know we usually don't pay that much, so
Yes.
we're
Yes.
doing pretty well.
So
Okay.
we've done very well on this, and this is a good project for county road through the SORTA TIF program, and it was applied for by the township.
Okay, thank you so much. I make a motion to adopt items 4 through 7.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Good evening.
Okay. Okay, item number 8.
Commissioners, Holly is going to take this item for MSD tonight.
Good evening. The resolution before you authorizes an agreement between MSD, Hamilton County Planning and Development, and the Mill Creek Conservancy District. Through this agreement, both MSD and Planning and Development, through one of their restricted funds, will provide some financial assistance to help partially fund staff at the Mill Creek Conservancy District to help them complete efforts necessary to identify ways to generate revenue to enable the Conservancy District to undertake its responsibilities for the operation, maintenance, repair, rehabilitation of the Mill Creek Channel and the Barrier Dam. If you're not aware, that system provides flood protection to over $1 billion of property and infrastructure, including critical portions of the MSD system. This funding is spread over 3 years, and it's a total of $180,000, $135,000 coming from MSD and $45,000 coming from planning and development.
Thank you. Any questions, Vice President Reese?
No question. Thank you for the explanation, Holly.
No questions.
Okay. I make a motion to adopt item 8.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our consent agenda items.
Commissioners, the consent agenda is quite lengthy, so I'll ask for your patience as I walk through this. Items 9, 10, and 11 are the auditor's financial transactions for the month of April, May, and June, respectively. Item number 12 it's an appointment. Commissioner, would you like to take this?
Yeah, I can take it.
Okay.
Sure. It's a resolution reappointing 3 members to the Elderly Services Program Advisory Council: Janine Gage, April Harper, Dimity Orlett. Any comments at all? No?
No, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy that we're filling those vacancies. I make a motion to adopt item 12.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Items 13 and 14 are the actions of the administration for the months of May and June. Item 15 is an agreement with the Ohio Indiana Regional Council of Governments Planning Services. This is the annual agreement that we do with OKI for the work that planning, environmental planning, etc. For the county. Item 16 is the annual to assess parcels that receive aquifer protection benefits from the Miami Conservancy District. It is set at $1.40 per parcel. That is the same as last year. It has not gone up this year. Item number 17, Commissioner. The water line at the Regional Safety Complex. These are dollars that we have known are going to be placed into that project. These are going to be reimbursed by Greater Cincinnati Waterworks. And there's actually another item on the agenda later on that I'll get to that it would authorize the agreement for that portion of the project. Item 18 is a budget adjustment in the clerk's, stadium, coroner's office, as well as the social services and justice programs for $1.843 million. Item 19, Commissioners, are the bid awards in the purchasing department. Actually, 19 and 20 are the bid awards in the purchasing department for May and June, respectively, at $1.01 million and $260,000. Item 21 is the execution of a then and now with the Facilities Department for Otis Elevator Company at $5,738. Item 22 is the purchase of one F-350 vehicle in facilities. I'm sorry, in planning and development for $56,405. Item 23 is a Fifth Third bank charge in the Sheriff's Office for $71.50. Item 24 is authorizing an agreement with Amoresco for new lighting controls at Great American Ballpark in the amount of $1.42 million. Item 25 is to accept a then and now between the Clerk of Courts and Costrategics and Lexipol for $4,425. This was for web support and for online police academy training. Item 26, Commissioners, is the award of an invitation to bid with CHC and Universal Contracting. This is for the HVAC and plumbing work associated with the South Scoreboard expansion at Paycor Stadium for $1.942 million. Item 27 is an agreement with Musco Sports Lighting for lighting system upgrades at Paycor for $236,000. Item number 28 is the execution of a then and now at the coroner's office for Shell Fleet Cards, $1,039. Item 29 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of one Ford F-450 for EMA at $71,000. Item 30 is a purchase order increase of $50,000. This is for advertising in the Veteran Services Commission. Item 31 is the award of an invitation to bid with Queen City Mechanicals. This is the awarding of the bid for the water line at the Regional Safety Complex for $1.225 million. Item 32 is a communication from Mr. Bennett Kotler requesting a quitclaim deed. This would be received for the record and forwarded to the engineer. Item 33 is a resolution authorizing the reinstatement of an agreement. This is really the extension of a term of an agreement with the Port Authority for a site readiness contract related to Quantum Chemical in Springfield Township. Item 34 and 35 are two solid waste management district grants. The first is with Matthew 25 for paint recycling and reblending. The second is with Walnut Creek Acres for composting, both in the amount of $15,000. Item 36 is a resolution for security services with NSG through April of 2027 in the amount of $656,250. Item 37 is the purchase of a property insurance program, including terrorism insurance, cybersecurity insurance, and aviation drone insurance at $1.195 million. There are 22 agreements related to JFS, Commissioners. There are 14 for residential treatment services, 2 for substance abuse testing, 2 for non-emergency transportation, 1 for parenting visitation services, 1 for training, 1 for independent living services, and 1 for benefit bridge services at $30.3 million. Commissioners, I'll defer to you if you'd like me to walk through each of them.
If you can give the total.
The total was $30.3 million on the for all of them, Commissioners.
I thought, okay. I remember looking at it on the website. I thought it was a little higher, but maybe not. Okay.
That was the total I had. I'm happy
Sure.
to confirm
It's okay.
that after the meeting,
Yeah.
Commissioner. Let's see, then we have, after the JFS items, item 60 is the report of no objection to 4 liquor permits, 3 in Green Township, 1 in Columbia Township on behalf of the sheriff. Item 61 is the request for authorization to travel at the county's expense. These are 2 employees of the coroner's office, 1 to Pocono Manor, Pennsylvania, 1 to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And item 62, Commissioners, is the monthly investment report for the month of June of 2026 from the county treasurer. That is your consent agenda, Commissioners. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up for any questions or comments. Vice President Reese.
I wanted to bring attention to item number 17, dealing with the Regional Safety Complex. And it was good to see an item on here regarding that. Mr. Ludo, can you tell us where we are on that Regional Safety Complex? I know folks in Lincoln Heights and Woodlawn and Colerain Township, I'm sure, are interested to see where we are.
Yes, Commissioner. So we are completing phase 1 of that project, which is all of the grading and the site work that we have to do. We have received bids for phase 2 of the project, which entails the construction of the range itself, the construction of the buildings, et cetera. We are currently looking at some value engineering opportunities to get costs back in the box, as we've talked with the board about. We plan on bringing a contract to execute with the board in mid-August related to phase 2, with the idea being that phase 2 would then begin construction, and we would be completing that project in probably third quarter of 2027.
Okay. Thank you for the update. Item number 20 deals with, on the bid purchasing packet, it has one of them listed for renewal for PM and support on security cameras and video system. Can you, I'm trying to understand, are our safety cameras connected to the city, or how is that? Because we had some issues where we had cameras, but they said we can't see what's on the cameras because we're waiting for the city. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah,
And is that what this is?
Yeah, well, and I don't know if we have anyone from purchasing online listening. Do we do? So I don't. Jill, if you're online, if you're able to talk a little bit about the camera item.
I think we lost her. Well, if you can't get Jill, you could get this back to me. I just want to make sure that the cameras
Yeah, and this
are working and have
I'm
film.
looking it up in here as
Who's
well,
looking at 'em?
Commissioner. Which item was it, Commissioner? I'm looking at
It's
the
on the
list.
purchasing bid award contracts.
Yep.
And then when you go into the actual contracts, it has the vendors' names, and then it has what is the
The
description.
renewal for PM and support for the
Yeah.
video, yeah, so,
And you could get it back.
Yes, I'm on.
oh, there she is, okay. Hi, Jill, can you explain the specific camera systems that this is related to?
I just have that it's at stadium parking for support and security cameras. I can pull it up if you give me a minute, or if you would like me to report back, I can email it out.
Yeah, you could report back. I just want to make sure, I was hearing that our cameras are potentially connected to the city, and there were sometimes we can't see it unless we access it. So I'm just trying to get an understanding of how the county cameras work. So if you can get that to me, I would greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We can do that.
Not a problem. I will let you know.
Thank you. And then on item number 24, and I support this, but I wanted to just bring up if we could get information, if I could get information also on these parking signage, and we're talking about lighting control upgrades, et cetera. But we put these signs in, and remember, we also paid for when you go into the lots, to go to Great American Ballpark or Paycor or whatever down there. They would tell you, I think it was Great American we started it with, it will tell you 5 spots on this or 2 spots on that. And then we had those signs on Marion Way with parking. And I was just told when I was down there, those signs are, nothing's on them. And they were saying because they're tied into the city of Cincinnati system. Well, I know when I voted on it, I never was told that. So now they're just sitting blank, and we spent a lot of money on it. So I just need to get more information, because we spent a lot of money on that new technology, and now they're actually blank.
Sure.
Because of how it was set up. So
Yeah,
can we just get more
report
information?
back on that as well. I think the system inside the garage is working as it relates to like the red, green, blue system, that type of thing. But we'll get back to you with the report on the numbering, the lot count numbers, I think is what you're referring to, correct?
Yeah, the lot count and the sign to the lot. When you drive down Marion Way, these signs are blank, and it's the second time we had problems. The first time we had problems, I know that Phil came and said they were getting back with the vendor to make sure.
Correct,
So that was one. Now it's completely blank, and I was told by Joe Paul, I believe, that when we set the system up, we set it where it is connected to the city, and without that, it doesn't work. But that's not what was promoted or advertised to us. So it just, I would hate to just, it was a waste. We need to really figure that out,
Yep,
because
we'll-
it looks
we'll
bad.
We'll get back to you on that, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. Those were the only things that I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to highlight item 17 as well. This is related to the regional safety complex. This is an item that the city was interested in having be part of the overall stack for the regional safety complex by way of installing a new water line. And because they have control of that utility, we, I think, smartly insisted that they pay for this and that the utility pays for it and that it is not part of the overall financial stack because as the administrator said, we are suffering under some of increased payments or increased costs rather because of tariffs, because of inflation, because of things that are completely out of our control. But this item was something that the city paid for outside of the financial stack. So I'm grateful that this is the way that was arranged and this is how this is going to go down. But I know we still have some challenges by way of figuring out how to continue to fund the total project, but looking forward to continued reports on that as we're all very interested in making sure this gets done as quickly as possible and we have as much available as possible to the safety services that are going to use the facility. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple things. Item 17, I was happy about the reimbursement from the city also, but I was going to ask you, Jeff, on number 31, the 1.2 million for the water main, will we continue to receive water main, water line appropriations? Like, is that how it goes? Every water line we're going to get an appropriation?
So this would be the actual main that, so there, you might remember that in the initial stages of the project, there was a discussion as to whether or not we were going to use like on-site well water or whether we were going to run, and the well water is what the facility has been using since inception. The city wanted there to be water run from Greater Cincinnati Water Works, so we said we're happy to do that and replace the well water. We just would like the city to pay for that, and they said yes. So this is the only water line that would be receive that sort of payment, Commissioner.
Okay, so 31 is, we're paying for the 1.2.
They're really the same item, the 1.4 and the 1.2, and that's why I said it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, it
The
is.
1.4 is just the budget adjustment to put the money in the project. The 1.2 is awarding the project to the vendor.
Okay, okay. You came up, I like that.
Our facilities team put some contingency in there.
Okay.
That's why
It's a little higher than the contract.
Okay, very good, thank you. And items, no big deal on this, but items 22 and 29, trucks that are being bought by planning and EMA, are these replacement trucks, or are they adding on to their fleet? Because they were pretty expensive.
I don't, let's see, authorizing the person, it looks like item number 22
70,000.
is an addition. What, the other number, Commissioner?
29.
29, and that looks like it's an addition. Jill, can you correct me on that if I'm off? They're supposed to say addition and not a replacement, correct? If Jill is still on.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
It does say in addition to the fleet for both of those.
Okay, that's
The one for planning and development is for inspections for stormwater. And then I think the EMA one is for a grant funded, for Hamilton County Police Association, the dive team.
Okay, great.
And Commissioners, if it is for, if the planning and development is for stormwater, that would be paid out of a restricted fund.
Okay, thank you. And Jeff, I wanted to tell you, was she saying something else? Okay. Your total was correct, because when I added it up at home, I ended up with 100 million, because I've been adding to what we've been allocating, not that we spent. And so it would have to be exactly what you said, the 30.1. So we're up to 100 million allocated, not spent by Job and Family Services, but we've put out there if we have to spend it for services for JFS. And I think that's all that I have. So, let's see, I make a motion to adopt items 9 through 11 and items 13 through 62.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Thank you. And we can go back to our comments and motions if we'd like, or we could save it for another day.
When is the other day?
When is the other day? How did you want to do it? You want to separate?
Defer, how you all want it? When do we meet again? You ready to get out of here?
I'm good either way.
Everybody, I mean, either
We
way.
agree to just
But wait, I
run.
do have an announcement that's coming up. I won't see the people again.
Okay. Well, go on and give your
Well,
comments and motions, because I don't have much.
Okay, just real quick, I think it's important. We, Hamilton County Micro Enterprise Grants, we gave grant over $200,000 in support to small entrepreneurs, and the three of us were there. And I want to thank Angela Rahman and the planning and development team, for hosting the grant check presentation. This was in response to the Small Business Day and the grants that we released there. People were able to fill out applications, get questions answered, take the classes. And I think it's so important right now when we have so many small businesses that are having to shut down because they just can't find any help. And so we came through with $200,000 worth of support, and we had a great presentation that was right in this building. So I wanted to highlight that. Of course, join my colleagues with Disability Pride Flag raising, Disability Pride Month. We just had a great event. I want to thank the 513 Relief Team for the 3rd Annual Hamilton County Developmental Disability Accessibility Day. I want to thank the Hamilton County Developmental Disability Services. We partnered together, had the first event out here. It was great. Had hamburgers and grilling outside, and it was just great. Had over 40 community partners. I want to thank them because it was extremely hot, and I want to thank them, and I want to thank the folks that showed up for our Accessibility Day with 513 Relief Bus. So I just wanted to say that. Wanted to also acknowledge Kurt Reiber on his retirement from the Free Store Food Bank. And Kurt has dedicated his life to the Free Store Food Bank and has done an amazing job and left it in good hands. So I wanted to congratulate him on that. The Cincinnati Black Music Walk of Fame, we're 9 days from the event. And the Parade of Stars, this thing is all free. And the Parade of Stars lineup is starting at 9 a.m. and doors open, I believe, at 11. And then they're going to unveil the stars. For WCIN will be honored this year, the first black radio station in the state of Ohio, and from here to the East Mississippi River. So all of the major hits became hits because they played them. And also Heat Wave. Heat Wave will be honored as well. There'll be a free performance by Regina Bell, Shirley Murdoch, and Midnight Star will do their 50th anniversary celebration concert. So all of it is free. We're all white, and so I wanted to make sure seating on first come, first served basis. And we even have Metro bringing some seniors down so they can also enjoy. So I wanted to put that. Also put on your calendars Veterans Appreciation Day. Our 3rd Annual Veterans Appreciation Day will take place at TQL Stadium. It's August 15th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And as they celebrate 250, we will be marching in. So if you ever served or your family member served, you can march in with us. We'll be marching from Washington Park into TQL. It's going to be amazing, and so very happy to partner with the VSC on this, Veteran Services, which is also in this building, and they're doing a great job. On the same day, 513 Relief Bus will have our annual Back to School community event, and that will start at 10 a.m. as well. That'll be at Agape Love Ministries, and they'll have school supplies, school haircuts, book bags, and so much more, partnering with the Cincinnati African American Firefighters for book bags. So we've got a lot going on. So I just wanted people so they don't lose out from that. And then I do want to give a special thank you and shout out. Princeton High School had reached out to our office football and was interested in how they may be able to move their Princeton versus Moeller game. I know we had ended the season with the Elder versus St. X, which was great. I know all three of us have expressed we want more events, community events, sporting events, entertainment in the stadium. And so when Princeton reached out, I certainly support this Crosstown Showdown. it could kick off the season. So I want to thank, sent it over to Jeff Ludo and Dwayne Herring of the Bengals, and I want to thank them for working on this. And I was at Walgreens, and a gentleman had on his Moeller shirt, and he said he was on the coaching staff, and he was excited. So hopefully we'll be able to get all of that worked out. But I do want to thank the administration, Jeff, and the Bengals for working on this. And thanks to Princeton, it's their home game. So, man, this would be a great, great opener. So just wanted to highlight that as well. So those are all the things that I have, but I just wanted people to have those dates on their calendars. Thank you.
Yep, those are important dates. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. I'm just going to truncate my comments because we've been so long that there are so many things that have happened since we met last. But I did want to highlight just a couple of things. One, because we just had the hearing related to Children's Services, I had the pleasure of going to the JFS Celebration of Dreams event. This is an event where we celebrate the kids that are in custody that graduated from high school. And they're from all over the county. They've graduated from all different high schools. And sometimes they don't have celebrations in the homes where they've been placed. And so this is a way to celebrate them. They get dressed up. They're very excited. It was at a park this year. Lots of food, a lot of music, loud music for these young people. It was great. They loved it. And they took photos. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful event. We do it every year. But I got to tell you, JFS really knocked it out of the park this year. So, John, congratulations to you and your team. The kids were pretty excited about being there, so I'm thankful for all the trouble that you went to make sure it was a special day for them. We also, the board invested in, through CDF, many housing projects. I went to the ribbon cutting for the National Church Residences project up in Walnut Hills, and it was very exciting. I went to the groundbreaking, I believe it was, a number of years ago, and here we are for the ribbon cutting, but another sign of the progress that we're making related to providing affordable housing in Hamilton County. Just a couple other things. I offered a proclamation on behalf of the board to the World Refugee Day celebration. Catholic Charities was there amongst others, and we were celebrating all the new Americans that are in Hamilton County. And then went to the Reds game. They had a recovery-friendly night. This is the recovery-friendly workplace is something that the Hamilton County Addiction Response Coalition has helped champion. This is for workplaces in Hamilton County as one to make sure that people feel supported if they're in recovery throughout the many employers in Hamilton County. The Reds signed on to be a recovery-friendly employer, and then they welcomed us into the stadium for a special night where the group was recognized. And it's not so much us, but rather public health, the Office of Addiction Response, all the partners that make this this project work. And the Reds were very gracious, and so it was a really nice recognition from them, and I'm very grateful for that. And then I wanted also to mention the Disability Pride flag raising. It was especially poignant this year because we've started the task force. Three of us have voted in favor of that. This is a task force that is unique to Hamilton County that will help us better understand, because we've got the lens of people with disabilities on projects and procedures that we implement, and they will help us better understand the impacts to people with disabilities throughout the county. And so my understanding through Neil Kelly is that they are coming forward with recommendations here within the next couple months. So I was especially glad about the flag raising to honor and celebrate people with disabilities in Hamilton County, and then look forward to that task force providing us with some important recommendations. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just throw out a few of things that I've been involved with. The Family and Children First Council. They are just really good. They meet quarterly, and JFS is a part of that, and looking at the services that we provide to families and children. The Disability Pride flag raising was mentioned earlier, but it was our first time ever having a flag raising for Disability Pride, and I'm looking forward to the task force and the information that they will bring forward as far as how we can do better in this county. I also met with Mark Mallory and Jeffrey Anderson as it relates to a possible mini golf lot What lot is that? Is that 24 or 18? 18? Okay. And Mr. Anderson, who he says he can get it done if he gets the zoning approval from Cincinnati, and he's thinking in a couple months he'll have it ready to go. So that would be, it sounds like a great idea. He also, and he doesn't care if I say this, he owns 5 Wawas, and he was saying that he remembers seeing me at the last Wawa in Silverton. I told him he needs to put me on a commercial because I try to not miss any of those, but just a very nice man who wants that area to look nice instead of the carousel or the wheel we were going to put down there. Visit Cincy, I attended their executive board meeting. They're looking at the new structure for Visit Cincy, and CEO, they need a permanent CEO, and so we have to agree on the structure and also agree on whether or not we're going to complete the search or start a massive search, which is expensive. So we'll come to a conclusion, I'm sure, very quickly. The Fort Washington Way CAPS press conference that I attended, where we received $25 million grant from the state to cap off the Fort Washington Way, which we have to provide some matching funds for that. Let's see. I went to Forest Park to help read the Declaration of Independence along with other Forest Park officials. I appreciate them inviting me. And then I presented a letter of condolence to the family of the late Sheriff Simon Lease from the commissioners, and they were very appreciative of that. Okay, that's all I have for now. So nothing more to be said. Or else. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all for all your hard work out there and all our hard work out here.